So people who are making between 5 to 10 lakhs or between 10 to 50 lakhs are going to undertake the majority of the brunt of the increase of taxes. Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So if you consider a fact, in 1986, approximately 3% of our population used to pay direct income taxes. In 2022, which is approximately 35 years hence, only 3% of our population pays direct income taxes. So over a span of 35 years, our tax base de facto has not increased. Many of you would give me a counter argument that Akshat, you know what? Our population growth has happened. So 3% of population now is a big part. So therefore tax base has increased. Not entirely correct because our kharcha has also increased if our population has gone up. So de facto 3% of those taxpayers are getting crushed more and more. So through this video, I'm going to do three things. One, I'm going to help you understand why our tax base is so low to begin with. Second key point, how much tax burden is being shared by these 3% people who actually end up paying taxes. They should be celebrated, but they are being crushed more and more. Third and finally, is there something that government or you and I as individuals can do? So we will talk about solutions as well. So let us get the discussion started. Couple of very important disclaimers. First and foremost, this is not a criticism of the current government. Just to prove that point, let me give you an interesting statistic from Congress government's time. During Indira Gandhi's time, the highest effective tax rate was approximately 97.5%. So yeah, that is the statistic regarding Congress. But even now, the tax being put on those 3% citizen is huge and crazy, which we will discuss on this video. Second, please understand the difference between direct and indirect taxes. Indirect taxes are taxes which are borne by almost everyone, whether you are a direct taxpayer or not, whether you are making salary or not. Indirect taxes would still need to be paid by everyone. Direct taxes are salary oriented taxes. Only if you fall in certain income tax slab, then only you will be paying direct taxes. Important point to be noted here is that direct taxpayers also end up paying indirect taxes. I have made part 1 to this video. You can go and watch it after you have completed this video. Please go and watch it. It's a very useful video. If you aggregate both these videos together, your understanding about the tax structure will improve. So with that viewpoint in mind, let us start the discussion. Also a very quick shout out to our sponsors for today, which is Tax Buddy. It is a wonderful platform for filing your taxes. It is an end-to-end solution for all tax related problems, be it GST, be it optimizing your taxes. So you can use the Tax Buddy platform. You can check the links in the description box for using a special code that you can use to avail more discount on Tax Buddy's platform. So let us get the discussion started, and first and foremost, let us systematically try to understand as to why our tax base is very, very small to begin with. The answer lies, and no points for guessing here, the answer lies in politics. You see, in India, we have one voter, one vote system. So politicians try to come up with tax structure, tax intensive, tax policies in such a way that majority of the population is appeased in terms of not paying the taxes. Now, this can be seen through this graphic that in the last 3 decades, India has raised its income tax threshold 13 times. And as a result, over the last 35 odd years, our tax base has stayed constant at roughly 3%. That is the simple analysis. If you apply this to today's context, what you will find is that right now, these are the tax slabs that are there, that up to 2.5 lakhs, you pay 0% income tax. Between 2 to 5, you pay 5%, but you can claim a lot of deductions. So up to this point, if you are someone who is making 5 lakh rupees, you're almost paying 0% direct income tax. Now, what is likely to happen in the future, that as people's income starts to increase, you might have seen that very recently a lot of people are getting pay hikes. Why? Because of inflation. So a lot of people are getting pay hikes. Overall salary structure is increasing. So going forward, what is likely to happen is that instead of 5 lakhs, this limit will be raised to 6 lakhs. That if you are making up to 6 lakh rupees, again, you know what? No taxes for you. So as a result, what ends up happening is that if you are making more than 5 lakh rupees, there is a higher incidence of tax on you, which is very, very disproportionate. So let me prove that point numerically by showing you some data here. So first and foremost thing that you need to keep in mind that our GDP per capita is roughly 1.4 lakh rupees INR. What this means is that every person in India is approximately earning 1.4 lakh rupees on an average. Now this data can be seen through another lens. For example, if you multiply 1.4 by 3, it brings us to approximately 5.2 lakhs. And if you are approximately making 5.2 lakhs, then you are paying roughly 0% tax. Now this is a worrying sign. Why is this a worrying sign? So take a look at this. So for example, if you consider any country, consider for example America. Now, anyone who is making an average salary, which can again be determined through GDP per capita, they end up paying roughly 22% income tax. Now, same is the situation in China, that if you are making an average income, then you would be paying 10%. Same is the situation in Mexico, that if you are making average income, you will be paying 15%. If you are a German, then you would be paying 14%, so on and so forth. Now, I am all in for favoring people who are not making a lot of money, but I think we need to do a rational analysis here and ask a very simple question, that people who are making 3 times that of average or per capita GDP income, they are not paying any tax. Do you think that that is fair? Let me know in the comment box. I will not do more commentary on that. I will leave that decision of fairness up to you. So what ends up happening is that these 97% people are not paying any direct income taxes, and only 3% people are paying a lot of taxes. So let's try to do a thought analysis as to what type of burden do these 3% taxpayers end up incurring. So the easiest way of doing this thought exercise is that we can simplify the example. So think about it from a household viewpoint. That let's imagine that you are running a household and you are the only earning family member. Then all the responsibility of making money gets on whom? You. Second key thing, if your housing expenses are going up and up every single year, then are you getting more burdened or not? The short answer is yes, that you are the only sole breadwinner. Your housing expenses are going up. So yes, that is leading to more and more burden. So let us use that same logic and apply it at an India-wide level. So let us quickly check, are Indian government's expenses going up or not? So here in 2008, we were at roughly 1800 units. And now we are roughly at 4000 units. So our expenses have almost doubled over the last 10 years. Now let us quickly analyze that where is it that the Indian government is getting this money from. So here is a very good breakup, and it categorically proves the fact that the majority of income that the Indian government makes, it comes through taxes. It could be both direct and indirect taxes. Now indirect taxes, as I earlier talked about, it is borne by all, and direct taxes are borne by salary payers. Now, these salary payers who are paying direct income taxes, they also end up paying indirect taxes. So it's not as if that because my salary is getting cut in form of direct taxes, I'm exempted from paying indirect taxes. I'll be paying both type of taxes. Now, if you consider the highest effective tax rate over the last 16-17 years, what you will see is that it has gone up from roughly 30% to roughly 42.5%. So the point that I'm trying to drive home is fairly simple, that if you are in that 3% of category people who pay direct income taxes, then the incidence of tax on you is going up and up and up. While it is very difficult to estimate the quantitative nature due to changes in inflation, price differences, bunch of other different things, but it would not be incorrect to say that the 3% taxpayers are getting more and more and more burdened with taxes. So now comes the natural question, that are these 3% taxpayers ever going to get any kind of relief going forward? So there are essentially two ways or two mechanics through which this can happen. First and foremost, if the total expenses of India comes down, then that can give some relief to these 3% taxpayers. But do you really think that the expenses of the government is going to come down? The answer is no, it will not. Second key thing is that if we somehow increase the tax base. So let us quickly discuss these 2 points in slightly more detail. And for that, let us begin by doing a very quick thought exercise as to going forward, let's say 5 years, 10 years down the line, do our taxes need to increase? Now the surprising answer is yes, our taxes would actually need to increase from this point. This is not my opinion. This is the data that has been provided by the World Bank. And what they say is that for countries where the tax to GDP ratio is less than 15%, it is problematic, and those type of countries should raise more taxes. Now guess where India falls in this tax to GDP ratio. So our tax to GDP ratio hovers between 9 to 12% as of now. Now, a big chunk of this tax is coming through the 3% audience that I have been speaking about. So going forward, it is given that our total taxes need to increase. Now comes the second question, that you know what? Is the incident of tax going to increase on these 3% people, or is it going to come down? The short answer, unfortunately, is that it is going to increase here. And let me give you systematic explanation to that as well. Now, here is the entire breakup of income tax distribution of people who file IT returns. And you will see that this category of people and this category of people would not be paying any tax because their income is less than 5 lakhs. So this entire segment of 57% plus 18% is gone. This 1% is ultra elite rich. So these are people who end up taking a lot of debt in order to build their businesses. They pay something called as corporate tax majority of the time. A lot of their equity is tied into the companies that they run. And the corporate tax need to be kept low, because if corporates are charged crazy amount of taxation, then what they will do? They will just simply shift to some other location where they can save taxes. Similar moves have been exhibited by a company called as Amazon, which is one of the largest company on earth, but it figures out ways to pay almost 0% tax. So people who are making between 5 to 10 lakhs or between 10 to 50 lakhs are going to undertake the majority of the brunt of the increase of taxes. One of the primary reasons is that entire segment of population has been kept away from paying taxes. How does that play out? So let me use three examples. So first is the example of rich farmers. So please watch my part 1 of this video where I've discussed this entire case as to how rich farmers in India do not pay any tax, absolutely zero tax, and there are a bunch of farmers who make a lot of money. The second category of people who can be included into this group would be politicians. So here is a study that was done by India Spent, which said that approximately 75% of MPs and MLAs declared annual income of less than 10 lakh rupees. Approximately 35% of the lawmakers said that their annual income is less than 2.5 lakh rupees. Now, I don't know. I can't say yes or no to test the veracity of this. Let me know in the comment box whether you think that these numbers make sense or not. So a lot of politicians themselves are able to escape paying taxes. If you do away with their base salaries, the allowances that they get is also tax-free. Now, third and final category of people who can be brought into the ambit of paying more taxes would be unorganized businessmen. So you might have seen a lot of shopkeepers who are running 3, 4 shops, dealing in black cash and not paying even GST, and they are making crores. Now, I don't see the rationale as to why these unorganized business people who are making decent amount of money are not being asked to pay their fair share. So I, as a normal Indian citizen, can just hope that more people are brought into this tax ambit. So a lot of pressure is relieved from these 3% of taxpayers who are unnecessarily being burdened more and more with each successive year. So what is it that you and I can do from our end? So there are 3 steps that I can suggest. So first and foremost, get into ultra rich category. If you are running businesses, if you're doing more and more businesses, even organized one, then you can get access to cheaper debt. So at least one way you get access to capital and you can utilize that capital to offset some of the taxes. Now this is slightly higher advanced concept. So you can chat with people from TaxBuddy to get more clarity around it. But to cut the long story short, if you are using debt more effectively, then you can save some taxes. Second key thing which all of us can do is that we can optimize our taxes. So there are a bunch of investment options that you can explore. So please maximize all these data points to lower your tax liabilities. Third and finally, which is something that I've said earlier also, and please don't take this otherwise. I'm saying this in the nicest way possible, that please care about your own career, care about your own money. And if you see opportunities outside India, especially in low tax economies, please do plan some work there or figure out ways to sit in India and make money outside India. So that can be deemed as export of services and there are certain tax rebates associated with it. So these are 3 steps that I will leave you with. Do let me know in the comment box that whether you agree, disagree with this analysis and what is your viewpoint. Share it with your friends. It's a very important video. I hope you enjoyed the content and I will see you tomorrow.